We welcome you in. You are looking live at beautiful Parks Memorial Stadium, home to the Detroit Maulers. And the Maulers on Friday the 13th, looking to tame the visiting Chicago Warriors. But we'll see how that all plays out. 4 quarters, the Warriors hungry for victory number 1. The Maulers want to keep the winning ways going, undefeated at 2-0. Good evening, everybody. Cameron Duty here with my buddy Anthony Ellison. Anthony, it's becoming a bit of a habit around here, and I am enjoying having you in the booth, brother. Also on stats tonight, it's Justin Raside and Corey Minner. And a big thanks to Cam Irvine, of course, at SFL headquarters. So, Anthony, we said let's set the story. The Warriors coming in looking for victory number 1. And as I said, Detroit want to keep up with the role that they're currently on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would not go by what the point spread is going to say, what the records is going to say. This is a division game, and they always step up to the tape. This is still early in the season, so we don't really know what team is going to separate. So this is going to be up in the air. Detroit needs to come out with the confidence of a 2-0 team, because this Chicago team will creep up on you and put up points.
Yeah, you know, it's any given sim day, as we like to say, and anything can and possibly will happen. A Friday the 13th, the day before Valentine's Day. You know what? If you're like me, you love SFL football, and you're not going to want to go anywhere for the next 4 quarters or so. Here's the kickoff. Chicago gets us started. Decent return out to the 28-yard line, and right away, we'll say hello to the Chicago starting lineup, led by quarterback Ty Patak. The halfbacks are Jesse Fritz, Logan Lee. The fullback is Dean Jackson. The wide receivers are Caleb Giffus, John Fullerton, Bobby Tarantino. The 2 tight ends, Paulie Truth and Xavier Solomon. The 2 tackles are Jackie Jones and Jess Galarza. And the 2 guards, Boomer Bartolucci and Zach Wonders. As we start, 1st and 10, as we said, the 28-yard line. Man in motion to start, that's Caleb Giffus. Patak, 7-season man. Hands it off. Right up the middle, runs Jesse Fritz for a gain of 5, Anthony.
And we have not seen a lot of efficiency when it comes to the running game for Chicago. This is going to help Patak in the passing game. That's a good start.
Second and 5 now coming up. Here is Patak to throw. As man out in the flat. It's complete, still on his feet. That's Solomon, the tight end, who rumbles for the first down. Anthony, that was a nice play call, that little out route there.
I love it. You want to stretch the field, right? A lot of times you see players and teams go up the middle on the passes. Nice little out route. Throw it to the outside of the shoulder and let him move. Let him go up the field and get the extra yardage. And that's what we saw there. That's a really good pass.
Yeah, it is. After this play, we will say hello to the Detroit starting defense. Ball right at midfield, as you can see right there in the middle of that beautiful midfield logo. Here's Patak, toss play left side for Jesse Fritz, Prince of Chicago, as we'll call him. Here's the Detroit lineup on defense. Defensive ends Thomas Matthews and Frodo Laggins. Defensive tackles Sean Parent and Robert Cherry. The linebackers Jack Brown, Casper Haddock, and Matthias Citrion. We'll pause there for the 2nd and 6th play. Another handoff up the middle, disappearing into the pile, and hurdling over is Logan Lee, the halfback, with his first touch. Rounding out this defense for Detroit, the cornerbacks are J.W. Hartshorn, King Rashid, and Ramnar Sudi. The safeties, Chris Delro, King Jamal, and Jubilee Marsh. A big 3rd and 2. Chicago moving the ball nicely up to this point, and Jesse Fritz is stopped coming in. Reading that play like a book is Jubilee Marsh, the strong safety.
And Chicago having problems on 3rd down already this season, with only like 21st in the league in 3rd down conversions, with only 2 per game. That has to change if you want to win games and progress.
Fair catch called for at the 21, which is where Detroit will take over, led by quarterback Ethan Flowers. And you'll also see Johnny Kim in there as well at quarterback. The halfbacks are Andrew Gibson, Rashawn Williams. The fullbacks Terrell Sutherland and Brad Taylor Wright. The wide receivers are Rob Hunt, C.J. Parrish, Jimmy Went, and Jamar Shelton. We pause there for this first play from scrimmage for the Maulers. Here is a run right side, bouncing off of a defender or 2 is Rashawn Williams. Rounding out the lineup here, we've got the tight ends Goradel Khan and Robert Henson Jr., the two tackles Portia Henson and Hadrian Marlowe, the two guards Jimmy Hayes and Willow Henson, and at center, it's Torque McLean. 2nd and 7. Again, toss to the right side, making a man miss. There's Gibson getting some open running room for the first down.
And you're going to see right here, big formation. They have the guard pulling from the backside. You saw that good block by that offensive lineman coming from the other side to lay a pancake block here. What Detroit wants to do is control the clock, and how you control it is running the football effectively. We saw that on these first 2 plays.
On first down again, this is time they run it to the left side. It's Rashawn Williams back to the line, maybe a yard, brings up 2nd and 9.
And this time they ran the same play to the other side. They blitzed at the offensive lineman where he pulled at. That's how you disrupt the run play right there. You run to where that empty place is.
First throw of the day, and it's an interception. Picked up right out of the air, and it's coming back for a pick 6. They can't get Derek Majors down, and the 12th season man, season 25 All-Star, gets the pick 6.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about with Type and Tech football team right here. Chicago defense is really sneaky here. What they did was they had a underneath route. They call it a flat route in football, and you did not see that. He went disguised. He looked like he was going to play man coverage. He stopped, played his zone on that underneath coverage, and that quarterback did not see it. That's why you have to be careful when the third season quarterback, you got to look to your progression, because they're going to run those zone defenses right there, and that's a big play.
The extra point up and good, as Pittsburgh, with a little help from their defensive friends, take the pick 6 and take the early lead 7-0 over Detroit with 6:34 to play here in the opening quarter. For Derek Majors, that is his 47th interception of his career, his 7th touchdown. That's 16th all time. Now Detroit got to regroup here, Anthony.
Yeah, Detroit has to go back out there, and you have to forget about it. As a quarterback, you're a young quarterback, and you got to understand that, stuff happens. They're going to run disguise zone blitz coverage. Those are my favorite type of coverages to do in defense. So you have to look at your progression, look through everything, and be careful and be smart with the football.
Flower to get under center, goes back to the ground game, gives to Williams, who gets back to the line and nothing more. Let's introduce you to the Chicago defense. We haven't even a chance to do that yet, and they're scoring points. Defensive ends Jad McPherson and Peter Merck. Defensive tackles Storm Johnson and DeBrickshaw Molyneux. The cornerbacks are Havo Ramsey, Andre Brown, Xavier Rowe, and of course Derek Majors, who we've already heard from tonight. Here's another run, again struggling to get past the line of scrimmage, and just maybe 1 yard at best. It is 3rd and 9. Rounding out this lineup, we've got the cornerbacks Melodious Manning and the safeties Kronk Worthy, Alex Bond, Dylan Bamsler, and J.J. Bailey. And a quick 3rd and 9 for Detroit. Flowers with pressure coming around the edges. They're going to wrap him up and take him down. That's a loss of 10. And that's going to go to the big man, Jad McPherson, 6'2", 245 pounds.
And Chicago is coming out hot right here, sending edge blisters right there. The tackles did not get their feet set. They didn't kick back enough, and they just ran past the offensive lineman. Good job calling a 3rd down blitz here. And now Detroit has to punt the football back to Chicago with good field position potentially.
Yeah, and to be clear, it was actually a tandem of Jad McPherson and Kronk Worthy in on that sack, both getting in the backfield at the same time and devoured him. As Chicago will take over, as that was Logan Lee, the halfback, on the return. They have good field position, up by 7, starting at the 39-yard line. Here's Type Attack, quarterback under center. And he rolls out, and he's going to go down. Tracked down from behind by Sean Parent, defensive tackle, 2-time All-Star there.
Nothing crazy, nice little spin move, got around that offensive guard, and saw where the quarterback was breaking at. They know that Ty Patek will run the football, likes to get out the pocket. Good job keeping that containment and getting the sack.
And in motion, that's the tight end, Paulie Truth. Patak to throw into coverage. Detroit gets an interception, maybe a pick six of their own. Wrapped up, going to be thrown to the ground. It's J.W. Hartshorn with the big defensive play to get these Maulers moving.
And you know what, Cameron? This is exactly what happened. The pressure came from the interior of the defensive line, and he got rid of the ball. Once again, another disguised coverage here. You love how the quarterback had his back against the quarterback, but recognized that it was an underneath route, stopped and cut it off and jumped on it. That's fantastic. That's back-to-back interceptions we saw from both teams doing that type of coverage.
Absolutely, partner. And let me just say, the defenses are showing up tonight. You got C.J. Parrish now in motion. That's three to the left of the formation there for Ethan Flowers, who throws down the middle of the seam. He's got his man, Robert Henson Jr., the tight end, down to the goal line. First down.
And I absolutely love it. You come out aggressive after a turnover. You realize that you're in the red zone here. I love it. Single high safety. When you make this post route, you do it right in front of the safety. You know you're going to take a hit, so make sure you secure the football and good catch.
This game has, obviously a lot of highs and lows, a lot of swings so far in this game of momentum. And now it's first and goal for Detroit, who walks it in. Touchdown, Rashawn Williams for 6.
And after getting the interception, you attack the defense. You've seen right there why Detroit is #1 in the league in red zone touchdowns right there with 3.5 touchdowns a game. You see it dominating. Sninkle running a ISO run up the middle on that right guard center side for a walk-in touchdown.
On to attempt the extra point is Silla Aldemir, and that kick is right down the middle. Good. All tied up now here in Detroit on this Friday evening. Beautiful Friday evening on a cloud in the sky. Crisp, cool fall, a February, a cool winter, I should say, a fall. No, not fall quite. I'm wishing it was fall weather, put it to you that way. Obviously, I'm not meant to be a meteorologist. That is a kneel down Logan Lee back out to the 20.
And Cameron, this is the thing right here. Chicago, after getting an interception, you need to go back out there. Your passing is your strength, but still, don't forget that running game. You did it in the first drive.
There's a just dump off right across the middle. Caleb Giffus, who picks that one up a couple yards at the most, maybe.
Nice little drag route. Good job by that defense, playing that really well with a good, clean tackle here. So now Chicago coming back out in this 3 wide receiver set. I love it. It keeps the defense spread out.
Giffus going in motion. He's trailed by Remnar Sudi. To the ground, and Jesse Fritz stuffed right at the line. Neither ground game able to really take off yet up to this point. Jack Brown, the Hall of Famer, with the stop.
Big 3rd down and 7 here. You know they're going to be passing the ball. Let's see what type of coverage they're going to be in and what type of pressure Detroit is going to send.
Fullerton goes in motion, at least 2 to the left and 2 to the right for Ty Patak. Going to throw it, he runs right into pressure. They got him again. This time it is Frodo Laggins, all 290 pounds, bearing down on Ty Patak.
And this is just good studying during the week. Knowing Patak, 3rd down situation, they're going to do a spread, a go with all the receivers, and then he's going to run. So that defensive end has to keep containment, and that's what we saw right there for another sack.
This punt, albeit a pretty decent punt, is going to give Detroit fantastic field position. They'll start from their own 49-yard line. That's Shelton with the return there. And with 2:18 remaining in this opening quarter, Detroit starting to get a little bit of momentum about them, both on offense and on defense.
Yeah, and starting that close to the 50-yard line here, this is a good chance to take advantage of a good field position for Detroit and try to get more points and ride that momentum from last drive.
Flowers back under center, has one man in the backfield behind him with two receivers lined up to his right, one to his left. It is a give. Bursting through a hole, that's Rashawn Williams. He gets out close to the first. A 9+ yard pickup, actually, on first down. You can't ask for no more than that.
And you cannot ask more than your tight ends and your receivers making good blocks there. Off tackle run, you're running off of that tackle and that tight end, and good job by number 84, that wide receiver, Jamal Shelton, putting the block right there on the edge.
Formation coming up here for Detroit. They try to pound that middle there. It's going to be close, but I do believe they're going to say Gibson got just enough to pick up the first down.
And what a way to keep fighting for that extra yard there. That's what we like to see here from Gibson. Back-to-back runs up to that right side. They're starting to like that side of the line.
Back to Williams, this two-headed tandem of Gibson and Williams starting to get a lot of work in as this game progresses. It's Williams who picks up 4.
Yeah, they want to slow things down, Cameron. They a lot of interceptions and points. They want to keep things on the ground and chew some clock.
Now back to throws Flowers. Pressure coming from the edge, but he stands in there and throws a thing of beauty. What a dart to Robert Henson Jr. once more. When he's needed a downfield target, it's been Henson today.
Yeah, and this is mainly because you had a really good running attack in the first 2 plays. And, you know, over that middle, that post route there is very important to make sure you put that throw in front of them. What a way to protect the football first down.
It was Dylan Bamsler who made the stop. First down again, back to the ground they go. Maybe a yard or 2 there. That middle was awfully clogged, but I believe that Williams will pick up about 2.
Yeah, good job running behind McClain and Henson on that run there, the center and the offensive guard. Just a couple of yards, but those add up.
Turning sideways, getting skinny there. What a run by Gibson. A nice job of fitting through a very small hole and powering his way toward the goal line.
And there you go again, running behind number 77, Stork McClain, and then you got Henson, and then you have the offensive tackle Henson, like the Henson twins on the left side there. Good job running, getting that first down, getting close to the end zone.
We're off and running. A fantastic first quarter. Chicago and Detroit tied up at 7. You're watching the SFL on the Virtual Football Network. Welcome back. Cameron Duty here with Anthony Ellison, Justin Raside, and Corey Minner on stats tonight. And a big thanks to Cameron Irvine holding the fort down at SFL headquarters. First and goal for Detroit, trying to take their first lead of the day. It looked for a minute that Rashawn Williams had a hole opening up for him. He gets upended. Second and goal coming up.
And what a tackle there. Like, you know, that's a touchdown saving tackle, just going for the legs and taking the running backs off their feet.
Taking a goal lined up in the eye. Lunging for the end zone is Gibson, securing that touchdown. And as I said, the first lead of the day for the Detroit Maulers.
What got you that first down, what got you the big run, that got you to the 1 yard line is that ISO run up the middle on that left side there. What a way to be patient, see where the blocks develop, and then you just dive for the end zone for another touchdown after giving up a pick 6 in the second drive alone.
Gibson's second touchdown of the season. As this kick is good by Aldemir. She tacks that extra point on. It's now 14-7 lead. Detroit out front. And what started off, you know, it looked as if Chicago maybe had the hot hand. They've cooled off just a little bit here. It's because of the pressure on Ty Patak, Anthony.
Yeah, and they know that Ty Patak wants to run the football. So if you can put containment on them, you're going to make them pass the football, and sometimes mistakes happen.
We've got a flag, our first one of the night. And it's that dreaded clipping, Anthony. And that's going to go against Chicago. Detroit, of course, will accept.
Yeah, and it's the rule. If you're seeing the numbers of the back of the jersey, don't touch them. Make sure you are blocking in front. and that's just add yards.
So back to the 15, already in a little bit of a deficit on this drive. But here's Patak, hands off to Fritz, running hard, picks up 4 on that left side before he's brought down.
Now, coming back to Chicago, and this is what we want to see different. They really can't convert on third down. We want to see what you can do when you get in those third and medium situations.
Patak steps back, throws out in the flat. Nice missed tackle. It's Logan Lee who fights hard, close to the first down, and it's going to be a 3rd and 1. That was a really nice play.
Really good tackle there. What a way to get closer to the first down. But Cameron, this is it right here. 3rd and 1. What are you doing to convert? You don't want to get the ball back to Detroit this deep in your end zone.
Yeah, they go with the run, and it's not going to get there. Oh, Jesse Fritz didn't really have anybody in front of him other than the line to help clear the path. As you see, Anthony, the Detroit team working good with their tight ends and backs in that department. No help for Fritz here.
And that just gave the defensive line did the job that needs for Casper Haddock to shoot the gap and make a tackle on 3rd down. I don't know how I feel about running it if I'm Chicago when you have type attack in the backfield, throwing it pretty well, and then get scrambled. That's just right there. That 1-yard push is going to dictate what you do in the game.
It was a big stop, and now Chicago has to deal with the threat of potentially going down 2 scores here. Good field position for the Maulers, who with this running attack starting to really take hold on this game, or at least this first half as we progress. That's a gain of 7 on 1st down.
And look, and speaking with coach for Detroit, J.W. Hart, they said they don't take Chicago lightly. You know, in the first game of the season, Chicago hung in there, and then they had troubles against Arizona, but they realized that Chicago had the potential to put up those points.
And there's that speed coming out of the backfield. That's Andrew Gibson once more. Already got a touchdown in the day, and he's kind of the finesse where it feels like Rashawn Williams is a little more rough and tumble.
Yeah, and then you saw number 64 offensive guard Jimmy Hayes coming, pulling to the outside, and you like how Gibson just wait for Hayes to get there, make a block, and then hit the hole where it's open.
Back to the big man, Rashawn Williams, who 6'4", the rookie, undrafted, but has really found a nice home here in Detroit. They like this guy.
And now, look, I love talking about offensive linemen. And let's talk about Willow Henson right there, 65, offensive guard. She went to the 2nd level, blocked the linebacker, and you see another big gain by Detroit.
Gibson once more. This time the right side. And you start to feel as if it's beginning to wear the Chicago defense down. And a point that we've made a couple times this season already in our broadcast, Anthony, of just what that does to the passing game. You expect them to take a shot here pretty soon, don't you?
Yeah, and because you know the linebackers are going to be looking in the backfield, you can really throw over the top. But right now, I'm still running between those guards and that center. It's money.
That's exactly what they do, and you're right. It is pay dirt. As that's Williams again rumbling forward, another first down, another, 8-9 yard play right there. Fantastic work.
And I love the vision. Your initial run was going to be on the left side. It's clogged up. Just plant your left foot and go to the right, and that's when you saw daylight there. Great running and great patience by this Detroit team.
Inside the red zone, inside the 15, as a matter of fact, as that is Gibson shedding some tackles before he finally gets rolled over inside the 10-yard line with a 6-yard gain.
And this is a great offense for the 3-year veteran right here, Ethan Flowers. When you can run the football so effectively and you don't have to pass the ball that much, it really, like you said, Cameron, sets you up for play action later on down the line.
It makes his day a lot easier in the office. Pitch right side. This may be the first time of this drive that Chicago is able to, we'll say, stop it, but it's still a 3rd and 1. Tough order here for the Chicago defense.
Yeah, and once again, 3rd and 1 situation here. You want to get a stop, but you're running against a #1 league team on 3rd down because they like to run the football.
But this time, it is the Chicago defense that steps up and makes the play. 1 yard to stop them, and Dylan Bamsler lowers the boom. It's going to be 4th down.
big 6'3", 230-pound safety, recognizing that play immediately, and good job by Chicago holding them to potential field goal.
It is, and there from the right hash mark is Scylla Aldemir. That kick is good. It's now a 10-point lead for Detroit with 4:43 remaining in the half.
Chicago has about 4 minutes. What can you do? You want to get some type of points. Detroit gets the ball back at half.
Last thing they want to do is give it back quickly. That's what they've got to stop. Got to stop the bleeding there. That kneel down in the back of the end zone will bring it out to the 20-yard line. We'll see what kind of drive Chicago can come up with. You made the point, Anthony. That first game, they just about knocked off Vancouver the second week. The next week, not so much. Tougher week, but here's a good run. Jesse Fritz out in the open spaces, kind of shows you what he can do, and he gets an opportunity to stay upright.
And look at the blocking by your wide receivers on the end. Good job holding on to the block, were able to bounce outside, and that's a good, positive run by Chicago. Now, you know you're probably going to throw some over the top. Chicago loves to run the spread, 3 to 4 wide receivers. There's some openings.
That was a whale of a block by Tarantino. Oh, and Patak is obliterated. That's the only word I can think of when I see a hit like that. Big-time sack.
Why is that open? That's the gamble you take when you're running 4 wide receivers. You don't have that many blockers there. That was just a speed rush by your interior lineman right there, Sean Pruitt, just running past the offensive line. Big sack.
Loss of 5, Parent with another sack on the day already. Here's Patak going to go down the seam, and he gets it all back, and then some, because he looks in the way of his man, the tight end Solomon.
And you know what? This is type attack. It's a gunslinger mentality. You know that you need to get those yards back quickly. He's not afraid to zip it over the middle. Not afraid at all.
Easily the best throw of the night so far by Patak. They try to stretch this out left side. Fritz is trailed down rather quickly by Brown, where he is stopped maybe a yard.
And Detroit, just as a whole, this game has been doing a good job holding the run game to minimal yards there. You saw they're just pursuing the ball and making good tackles.
2nd and 8. There goes Giffords in motion. Pressure coming. It's picked up this time. Oh, Patak throws. Floats that one in there beautifully to Giffords. Fits it into a tight seam, and this drive continues. Chicago looking a little bit better here.
And look, Detroit is saying, hey, we want Ty Patak to throw the football and beat us with his arm, and that's what we're going to have to see. More throws like that, seam route, and deliver a dot before the safety was able to hit him.
Attaboy right there by Giffords, because he knew he was going to take a shot by strong safety Jubilee Marsh. But he's on to the ball, secures the catch. Chicago in motion here. Pressure coming, rolling out. Patak going to step up and slide, but he's actually caught in the process and thrown down close to the first, about a couple inches short.
Yeah, and this is the time he was able to get to the outside because that defensive end forgot to give containment on the outside. So right there, Ty Patak is looking to run the football like that. You got to keep your containment.
2nd and inches. Here's a run. Fritz gets just enough. That will bring us to the 2-minute warning, folks. Chicago on the move. A 10-point deficit, but they find themselves in field goal range. You're watching the SFL on the Virtual Football Network. Welcome you back. Final 2 minutes of this half and what has been an action-packed game up to this point. Patak and the Warriors knocking on the red zone here. They give the ball to Fritz on a first down carry, and he is swarmed just back to the line of scrimmage and nothing more.
So we're going to see how effective your red zone offense is. You don't have that much yardage in between this and the goal line, so your plays have to be a little bit different. But we're going to see what type of variety Chicago can show us on offense.
And in motion. Yeah, here we go. We got a run again on second down, but this time shaking, one tackle, pushing his way to the 5 before being popped out of bounds. There's Logan Lee.
Ooh, I like that play call on the 4 wide receiver set. They motion over the slot guy to the right to give an extra blocker, and it's a nice little just handoff to the right.
In that running game, that two-headed tandem going between Fritz and Lee. Back they go with Fritz. The blocking out front is immaculate, and it's a touchdown for the Fritz Prince of Chicago.
And that is a very impressive respawn for Chicago. They needed that. But look at the block right there, number 18. That is one of your wide receivers that's not afraid to get dirty and made a key block so you can get into the end zone. Fantastic blocking and good job mixing up the pass and the run on this drive.
This extra point up and good. It's now a 3-point game. Detroit still leads 17-14. They're going to have a minute 19 to work with in this second quarter. They'll get the ball back, and we'll see how effective and how quickly they can move down the field. We know they've got a very dangerous offense there. Here's the kick. It's a little short. Fielded at the 10. That's going to be good field position to start this drive. Shelton brings this one out to the 33. Folks, we want to remind you, the more that we get in likes, the more people see our content. Each like contributes $1,000 to Monday's bingo pot. New viewers means new players, and new players means growing our great community. Like this video, turn notifications on so that you'll never have to miss a live stream, highlight, or a podcast. Thank you for your support of the Virtual Football Network and the SFL. So here go the Maulers. As we said, a minute 15 left in the half. Good field position to start. Here's a throw right down the seam, complete quickly out to midfield. That's Parrish with the reception. First down, timeout call.
There you go, Cameron. We're going to see what Detroit wants to do, and they want to push the ball down the field. They have all their timeouts. Just here's the thing: be careful. You don't want to give up an interception and let Chicago get some points here. So you got to be smart with your passes.
Great points, partner. Here is a dangerous throw, just as you say it. A big hand gets up there by Derek Majors. He's already got an interception on the day. Now add a deflection to that total.
And he got it with a similar type of coverage. It's that underneath cutting the route out. So you have to look at that if you're Flowers and be careful.
Two receivers now to the right. We see motion with Parrish. Moves to the left. Still under center is Ethan Flowers. Drops back quickly, throws over the secondary, and he's got his big man. That's Rob Hunt, and a second timeout called for.
You can't let that type of play get behind you there. And to be honest, Flowers underthrew that ball. If you lead that receiver up the field, that's a touchdown. Chicago caught a break.
All at the 38-yard line. Here's Flowers again. A quick throw, and there's the interception, Anthony. You called it. You read it like a book, my friend. A one-handed interception by none other than Derek Majors again.
And he ran the route for the receiver, recognizing. And the crazy thing is, he wasn't even guarding him. He had the inside. He passed it off to the linebacker, and he went to the outside receiver and jumped it. That's the thing that's been so dangerous with Majors today. He is all over the field. Key interception.
He come off of his assignment, like you said, Anthony, to get that one-handed grab. Man, that's a thing of athleticism. A beautiful play. Now Fritz, though, stopped quickly, and we'll see how much they want to, push it down the field, Anthony, but you got to wonder if maybe sometimes that interception is going to be enough to take it to the half.
Remember, time protector interception here earlier. You don't want to do that. That right there.
Yeah, that right there was dangerous as Jubilee Marsh was once again in the area, just off his hands.
I'm okay with going in the half down by 3, especially because you had a really impressive drive before, but you don't want to give up any points here. 36 seconds left. Let's just run the football. Let's chew some clock, punt the ball if you need to.
Giffords goes in motion. 2 receivers on either side. Attack, back to throw, pressure coming. Stands in there. Going to get out close to the first down sticks, but it's not going to be enough. He got Fritz out of the backfield. It'll be a 4th and 1 coming.
Now, Detroit could have called timeout here and forced them to punt it, but to be honest, if they're not going to call timeout, I'm taking it down as low as possible.
Inside of 10 seconds left on the game clock. And we will head to the locker rooms. It is halftime. And a tremendous first half. Detroit leading Chicago 17-14. This one hangs in the balance. It's anybody's game. We welcome you in to this SFL halftime report. Welcome to the SFL halftime studios. Cameron and Anthony here with you. Analysis and insight for the first half coming up. Let's take a look at the snapshots and some of the stats, Anthony. And what are your thoughts, my friend, on this exciting first 2 quarters?
It's really, you're seeing the guts of Chicago keeping up with it after throwing a couple interceptions, giving up points. They went down 14-7, 17-7. They came back on one drive and was able to cut it down to 3. For Detroit, you had control of this game for the most part here. You got to get back to that pressure. You got to have the containment for Ty Protect. You don't want him to get to the outside here. And you keep running that football, you're going to tire down that Chicago front 4.
Now, your player of the half, certainly Derek Majors with 2 interceptions and the pick 6. We'll see if he has an adventurous second half or if things get a little bit calmed down here on that front. We'll see if Detroit can adjust. It's been an incredible first half for both defenses indeed. As we welcome you back in to start this 3rd quarter. Detroit will get the ball to start the 3rd. This kick fielded around the 15, and once more, good field position coming up here. Out to the 35-yard line. And maybe something we need to mention there is that Chicago's without their kicker today, not able to play, so that may be an advantage for the special teams here for Detroit.
Yeah, because you rely on the big leg of your kicker, and now you have a backup in, so that might, scare you to maybe go for it on 4th down. Take a look at it a little bit differently.
Average field position, starting field position has been good for Detroit up to this point. You see the halftime stats there at the top of your screen. First play from scrimmage. It's a run. Gibson just about shed a block that would have sprung him wide open, and he is tackled after a gain of 4.
And they already as a team have ran for over 100 yards, and they just really need to try to keep it on the ground because Majors is looking for his 3rd interception.
The go toss play to Williams, right side, spins out of a tackle and is actually brought down. I was going to say I thought he was closer to the first than that. They'll give him a yard to go.
And good run play, big 3rd down here. I just expect to run it up the middle. You want to test out that interior line for Chicago.
And they do, indeed. They give it to Gibson, who veers left and right before getting the first down and out towards midfield.
And it's the patience. It's seeing where the blockers are, and you follow behind your fullback, follow behind your blockers. Recognize that the inside was taken up. Good job planting that inside foot and going to the outside.
Trips to the right for Flowers. They toss right. Tackled, no, gets out of the backfield. Williams stays on his feet and runs for the first down. And he was taking Havo Ramsey all the way with him.
Yeah, and that initial tackle you have to make, or at least hold on to him until somebody else can get there. Because if not, that's a first down run, but you had him in the backfield.
And he left this time is Gibson. And boy, I tell you what, you're right, Anthony. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Run left, run right up the middle. These 2 halfbacks are turning on the steam.
And this is what JW was talking about, head coach. We're going to play to our strength, play to our talent. You have a talent offensive line, and you have talented running backs that can get the yardage you need.
Not only are you chewing up the yardage, as you said, Anthony, but you're also chewing up the clock. And that's a big thing in this game. They're controlling the clock and playing their own game. Look at the blocking.
And for a lead, Cameron, that's turning into a pass-happy offense, it's so refreshing to see a running attack like Detroit. And you know what? You'll see it, Cameron, when you get into the fourth quarter, a lot of fatigue is going to be kicking in from that Chicago front line.
That is for sure. Big 6'6" Rob Hunt going in motion. Throwing middle of the field to Shelton is complete. It's contained nicely, though, to only a gain of 5. Good job with the Chicago defense on the response.
That's a good containment, but that's another 5 yards. You might as well count that as a run. Nice little drag route to keep Chicago honest. And then, you know what, Cameron, I'm going back to that run, and I want to test them out.
You see the line shift there for the Chicago defense. They hit it hard, and Williams is bottled up. They're going to say 3rd and 1. This is a big play coming here for both these sides of the football.
Another big play. You know, Detroit already has 4 third-down conversions completed, which is why they're number 1 in the league. They're looking for another one here, and it's going to be that run.
Going to be a hard yard to get. Formation. Are they going to stand them up? Oh, it's so close. It's going to be 4th and inches. Gibson didn't get it. Havo Ramsey credited with the stop.
Oh, I don't know about the spot of the ball, but I'm going for it if that's the case there.
And we will actually get our first challenge there, Anthony. They're going to go under the hood and take one more look at this thing. I think it's a good decision, too.
Oh, absolutely. It's because if you get the call, that's a first down, and you're probably going to keep on running the ball, getting close to the end zone here. But we need to see where the nose of the football is. We know we had a broken tackle. I think that spot is wrong, and that's a first down for Detroit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was close. I mean, that's a thin line. So the ruling on the field stands. Anthony, Detroit is charged a timeout. They could not find enough evidence to overturn it. It was J.J. Bailey who made the initial contact. Havo Ramsey comes in at the end. And you got to go for it here, don't you think? I mean, you just got to line up. But, Anthony, they decide to do the smart thing and take the 3.
The confidence in their defense, you want to take the points, but you never know what can happen there. I still disagree with the call, but they needed to have like undisputed evidence that it was crossing the plane. I guess it wasn't. It's a good stop by Chicago, holding them to a field goal.
Tilla Aldemir's kick is good, tacking on another. It's now a 6-point game. Obviously, the conversation piece, the surprise of the evening there, the challenge that does not go the way that any of us expected it to, but nevertheless, Detroit has a 6-point lead. Let's say hello to Cameron Irvine tonight. Let's go for an SFL game break.
Thank you, Cameron. Bossier City in Minnesota tonight, trying to knock off the undefeated legend, Jack Wigmore to Ladam McBrownski for the touchdown. It's 16-10. Minnesota up 6, but they are driving in the red zone. Back to you.
Thank you, Cam. What a fantastic opening block of football we've got on this Friday here in the SFL. 2 great games. We're so glad you're here with us. Chicago with a chance to try to put some points on the board to start this second half. Here is a run by Jesse Fritz, who is starting to get his legs underneath him, if you will. Another gain of 5.
And with that key third down stop and holding them to a field goal, Cameron, a touchdown will take the lead for Chicago, which would be really devastating for Detroit.
And it would. This time, though, the run bottled up. Nowhere to go for Logan Lee. That's going to bring up a quick 3rd and 5. That's been an issue we've touched on, Anthony. Quickly, they find themselves in these third down situations with not much time off the clock.
Yeah, and then a third down situation, which they have been struggling on here the whole entire game. You want to keep the ball on the field for the offense of Chicago.
3rd and 5. Patak needs a big play, and he's going to get it right down the middle. That's Solomon once more. That's been his go-to tonight.
And it's been that play right there. It's your tight end post, and just having that connection with somebody like that. Good throw by Ty Patak, and that's a 3rd down that they needed.
2 receivers to the left. Here's Patak going back up again, and he fits that one just perfectly in there for Caleb Giffis, who takes another shot at the end of it. But this guy's proven he can hold on to the football in a tough situation.
And you can't keep the Chicago team down with Ty Patek right there as your quarterback and just delivering the timing of it. You're getting rid of the football on your third step and you're delivering that ball in stride here. So right now, back-to-back completions, and they're going to look to air it out some more.
Yeah, Type Attack 7 of 9 so far, closing in on 90 yards. He's going to run it here, spins off of a tackle, and crosses the 30. So, yeah, 8 of 10 now is Type Attack, 104 yards on the day, quietly with a nice day in the pocket. That is 3 receptions for 39 yards for Caleb Giffis, 3 receptions for Xavier Solomon for 48 yards. Here they go, going to air it out once more into a tight window. The defense prevails, looking for Solomon again. It's incomplete in 3rd and 7.
Good job making a quick adjustment by the Detroit defense, recognizing that there's been a lot of passes over the middle. So that time, that safety took 1 or 2 more steps up, and they're looking to play that. So now, Ty Protect, look for something more on the outside because they're looking for that middle pass.
Third down pressure coming, and this time they're going to get back there and appropriately maul Ty Patak. That's a big loss on 3rd down.
And we've been looking for that since the first quarter there. Double swim move. The first person didn't get to protect. I love how there was somebody else there ready to make a tackle. Such a big sack on 3rd down. You pushed them out of field goal range, and you were able to get the ball back. Really short punt there. Now Detroit is going to get the ball back on the 20-yard line.
And here's the run, right up the middle. It's Williams, rolled over again, another 9 yards on 1st down. My goodness.
And just another effective run to the right. That time, the outside had great containment. But what they did was they cut right back in behind the tackle. Another 9 yards on 1st down.
In I formation, Flowers hands it off to Gibson, hurdles the defender. 1st down, out close to the 40. And you start to see, here comes some of that fatigue, Anthony. You said getting closer to the 4th quarter, we'd start seeing it develop.
And you love Gibson, like the running backs are being patient, looking for the blockers, following behind the fullback, following behind the offensive line. They're just waiting for the holes to develop, and they're just hitting it.
On the left side, Williams bottled up pretty nicely there. That's a good job with the Chicago defense in response, limiting him to only 3 yards.
So for Chicago, if you're having trouble just with regular base formation, maybe send a little bit more, add another lineman to try to stop those interior runs.
Gibson with a head of steam, hurdling out to the midfield logo. Another 1st down for Detroit inside of 2 minutes left in this 3rd quarter.
That time they put 6 up front, but the offensive line made a good adjustment. Shout out to the center, calling out the extra defenders, and they moved the blocking over to that side and had a good run.
Gibson close to 100 yards on the day. Boy, what a wonderful work of art for Gibson to this point. Williams not too shabby either. He picks up 3 more.
Now you're starting to see Chicago in the 52 front defense. That means 5 down linemen, 2 linebackers. They're trying to do whatever they can to get some pressure on the run. They're just having trouble.
On 2nd and 7, minute 3 remaining. Again, back to Gibson. Shedding tackles. Out close to the sticks. Going to bring up an important 3rd and 2 here once more.
And they're just making the adjustments. So right there, they showed 5 blitzing, 1 blitzer, and they just said, hey, person on person, and then to do a kick out block, and then they're following behind the fullback. This is just bully ball going on.
Offset eye as Flowers hands off to Williams, who cuts back towards the middle and picks up the first, crossing the 40-yard line. That was a big third down conversion there for Detroit.
And so now what we're seeing is the linebackers from Chicago are over pursuing, so that's why you're seeing the cutbacks, and you're seeing the cutback lanes being so wide open.
Gibson stop, but still keeps power, gets out to about 4 yards. Well, you know you've had a good day when you have two halfbacks approaching 100 yards each. Folks, we're going to quarter number 4. Get your fours up in the chat. It's been an incredible game. One more frame left to play. Detroit leads Chicago 20-14. You're watching the SFL on the Virtual Football Network. Welcome you back in here. Cameron Duty, Anthony Ellison, Justin Raside, and Corey Minner. Incredible job in the stats truck today, gentlemen. And, of course, Cameron Irvine at SFL headquarters. So, yeah, here we are, quarter number 4. This game has moved quickly. A lot of action on the ground. And there you see, getting over the 100-yard mark today is going to be Rashawn Williams. So, Anthony, two halfbacks for Detroit, Gibson and Williams, over 100 yards today.
And Rashawn Williams is an undrafted rookie. And you see in this, they're just running the football with patience, waiting for the blocks to develop, and then they're hitting the hole.
Gibson spins off of a would-be defender to pick up 5.
And it's no need to pass, Cameron. To be honest, you are tiring out the defensive front until they show something different. Keep on running the football.
What's the phrase, Anthony? If it ain't broke, here is the run. Williams hurdling over men, powering close to the end zone, down about the 2. Boy, he wanted that touchdown, didn't he?
Oh, 100%. When he saw daylight after breaking that tackle from the linebacker, he kept the feet moving. You can tell he doesn't skip leg day. Just keep driving the football and getting those extra yardage there. Let's see if they're going to give the ball back to him to get that touchdown.
Yeah, how about the rookie? I formation in the backfield. Detroit wanting to separate themselves, but they give it to Gibson to do the cleanup. It's another touchdown for Andrew Gibson and extending the lead now for Detroit.
And you know what we just saw was it's bully ball. You're running it up the middle. You're saying your linebackers can't get to us because our line is getting there and blocking the second level. They're clearing out the defensive front here. This is just showing more grits and it's just more passion to run the football, push those people back. Fantastic drive.
Aldemir's extra point is good. And Anthony, how about this? Ethan Flowers, 8 attempts today, 5 completions for 67 yards. Pretty calm day at the office.
Yeah, and when you have your quarterback only throw 8 times and you're winning, that's what you want to protect your young quarterback.
Indeed. Nice return here, though, for Chicago. Although, that's Fullerton's return, but we got a flag, and I'm afraid we're going to see clipping again. This one's coming back.
Yeah, and that hurts because you got a good kick return, and now you have to go back to see how yeah, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
When you see the name on the jersey, don't touch him. That's going to be called all the time.
Yeah, he more than touched him, didn't he? I mean, he flat out shoved him to the ground. You know, is that frustration, Anthony, just working itself out in the middle of a play?
That's just trying to get away with it. You try to do something a little bit extra. He wasn't even in the play, so it doesn't need to happen.
The receivers now lined up to the left. There is Patak dropping back, needing a big drive here. Unloads, complete to Giffords again, who's been a workhorse today. And another flag. And this time for the defense, they get roughing the passer as Patak took a shot from the big man, Sean Parrott. Oh, yeah.
That's a late hit right there. It doesn't need to. You're up right now, and just let them. The ball is thrown away. Just let them go.
8:15 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Attack, throwing again. Oh, it throws it right to two Mahler defenders. We've got our third consecutive flag. Let's see what this is. So clipping on the defense, Chicago will accept, but it will stay Detroit ball because it happened after the interception.
Yeah, and, once again, that's after the interception. They need to pass the football, but it looks like that's the problem when you're behind. You got to throw the football quite a bit, and they're ready for it.
Well, we didn't get a chance to really celebrate that interception there. 27-14, the lead for Detroit over Chicago, and the defense comes up with a big play. It's Patak just kind of airballed one there. Nobody in the vicinity except for a couple of Mahler defenders. Pickup of 6 this time on the carry. Now it's all about running that clock out and exhausting this defense to the final whistle, Anthony.
Yeah, I would not want to see Ethan throw the football whatsoever. Even if it's third down, let him run the football.
Oh, the ball's loose. Detroit is going to lose it. Chicago's going to get a gift here. They get it back in Detroit territory.
Well, I don't want to see that. And that's just a perfect place tackle. Your helmet is hitting the football right where he's running it. And this is a sign of life that Chicago needed. You just threw an interception, right? But you're going to go back out there and throw it.
What a play. Scooped up by Kronk Worthy. Here's Patak throwing. Almost throws the interception again. Tried to fit that into a tight window for Giffords, but nothing there.
Whew. And this game is not over with yet. This is a 2-score ball game. And Ty Patek has been in these situations and has come back. So let's see what they can do.
Yeah, folks, it is 27-14. Detroit, while with a 2-score lead, trying to fend off this Chicago offense who has been gifted a very good opportunity here. Here's Patak throwing. It's incomplete. Knocked loose. He was going for Fullerton, and that is jarred loose by Jubilee Marsh.
And Detroit is looking at those breaking routes on the inside, and they're collapsing to it. So maybe throw some to the outside numbers.
Under centers, Patak. Two receivers on either side. Pressure coming. Standing in there. Patak takes too long. He's going to be pushed backwards, and you wonder if this will be too far for another field goal attempt, because as we mentioned, Chicago does not have their regular place kicker tonight.
Yeah, so in getting lower in the game, but you cannot take that sack. You cannot hold the football that long. Throw it away or just run with the football, but 4th and 15, and it looks like they're going to punt the football.
Fredo Laggins and Sean Parent were the ones who was wreaking havoc there on Patak. That pushes him out of field goal range. The punt's going to be a good one, though, fielded at about the 7. But, boy, how disappointing is that if you're Chicago? You get that fumble in field goal range, the sack takes you out of it.
And that was a perfect opportunity to close the gap. So it sucks. It's very frustrating. And now protect the football, cover it with 2 arms, hands high and tight.
Williams gets out of the initial tackle and powers forward for the first down, so the clock will continue to run. They're deep in their own territory here, but that's a good run to start things.
And it's been a lot of breaking tackles all day, and it's just arm tackles that they're just running through. That's why he has 146 yards and averaging close to 6 yards a carry.
Here is Jamar Shelton on the move to the left side of the formation. The give is to Gibson again. He is tackled and contained very nicely. Only a pickup of 2 on first down.
And Chicago has to make some more aggressive plays like they did last drive, and they caught fumble. And you got to probably send pressure and try to bait Ethan to throw the football, which he shouldn't be doing.
No need for that. The way that this two-headed halfback tandem has been working. Muller's coming out and really making some people take notice today of this rushing attack. There's the rookie Williams again, out close to the first down. It's been 3rd and 1. It feels like all night, Anthony Ellison.
Yeah, and it's been first down after first down, but this is just an impressive game by an undrafted rookie. What a way to scout.
High formation, a yard to go here. Gibson. They're going to say short. Are we going to get a review, Anthony?
Yeah, I would review, but you just remember last time the exact same situation, and they didn't get the call here.
Yeah, is it worth potentially losing a second timeout here this late in the game?
You got to believe in your coaches up in the booth that this is a job to a play to call for a reverse. Yeah. So let's see.
Blocking out front there, he goes off of it just a little bit there, playing tight to the lineman. This angle will tell us right here. Oh. Yeah, is that going to be enough?
I think he's over it, but let's see what the spot is.
The play will stand. So this officiating crew,
that's tough.
You know, if it's not conclusive, it's not getting overturned, they lose their second timeout, and they'll have to put it away on 4th and inches.
And this is a really, I mean, I would call that. That's something that I believe that he is over the line, but you got the refs down there saying something different.
So Chicago with another opportunity here. Can they make good on it? This kick fielded at the 30, crosses to the 40, down to the 41 is where Logan Lee will take this football. They'll actually spot him at the 42 with 4:52 remaining. Folks, coming up tomorrow on the Virtual Football Network, Arizona and Washington renew their West Division rivalry in primetime under the lights at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Virtual Football Network. Other action around the league. It gets going at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, led by Birmingham at Miami, plus Houston and Carolina, and Anchorage at Mexico City. It's all right here on the FN. Here is Chicago. Patak with a chance. Throws. Wow, look at that tight window. That's all Giffords has had today is tight windows to try to make up some beautiful plays.
And it's good throws. You're throwing it into triple coverage, but it's just like, is it enough? You got to see more of those quickly.
Yeah, you do. Clock running inside of 5 minutes in this ball game. Look at the field wore out from this ground attack that's taken place. Fretz with the carry, runs right side, not close to the first, maybe 2 yards.
Yeah, you're not going to see no clean jerseys today. This has been just smash mouth football, and they've been tearing up the field here. You got to have a hurry. You got to have a quicker offense.
Yeah, and I, for one, have absolutely loved it. It's been a really old school throwback type of a football game where running has been the name of the game. Here's Fretz again, gets past the 40, rolled over close to the 35. And that's going to bring up a long yard to have to pick up here for Chicago.
And this has been their Achilles heel today, has been 3rd down conversions.
This time, though, they do get it going off tackle as Logan Lee rolls forward for the first. Now it's no huddle time, 3:30 remaining in the 4th. Patak gonna throw, sails that one out there, and it's incomplete. That was dangerous.
Very dangerous because it was tipped and then the ball was in the air, so that could have been up for anyone, but it wasn't. Clock stops. Back on the field.
2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Here is Patak. Back under center. We've not seen him out of shotgun or anything really today. He has been under center, tucked tightly there. Patak throwing a high ball, trying.
And that is the adjustment that Detroit has been making. They've been looking for that middle of the pass, and then good job by the safety knocking it down.
Anthony, and it's incomplete.
Yeah, and I think you have to go for it here on 4th down. and this could be the ball game because they can run the clock down here. 4th and 10. If I'm Detroit, I'm just playing soft coverage, give up anything that's beyond, that's like below the 10-yard line.
3 receivers now to the left side. This is the game possibly, folks. It's 4th and 10. Patak going to throw right to the arms of a Detroit Mauler who takes it away, and that could be ball game. King Jaw with the sack.
It's just too much to do with not enough time. This is the coverage we've been seeing all day from both teams. Just a cover 2, that flat person gives up the route to the person behind them and just jumps on the route there. And just what a fantastic defensive performance for Detroit. And Chicago, once again, one of those teams that just fights to the very end. But it's just the running game, Cameron, that did it for this game.
And now back to that ground game they go that has worked so beautifully tonight for Detroit. It's been just an incredible orchestration of these 2 halfbacks, Gibson and Williams, as they are inside of 3 minutes from their 3rd victory of the season.
And this Detroit team is starting to show that they're built for a long run, built to go into the playoffs, because this running game is really dangerous.
Play clock down to 3 before it's snapped, using as much time as they can. And look at Gibson, not done yet. And that is a defense at this point. They are completely gassed, used up all their energy.
And like we said in early in the game from Coach JW for Detroit, Chicago is a very deceptive team. They're going to keep up in the game. They're going to put up points. They're going to play some good defense. But JW said, put the best players in the best position. And that's what he did tonight. That's what this whole staff did tonight. They know that they had a running advantage, but that's what they did. They went out there and they ran the football knowing they had a mismatch.
2 minutes remaining. Detroit on their way to their 3rd straight victory, remaining undefeated on the season. You're watching the SFL on the Virtual Football Network. To just clarify, this score is 27-14 Detroit over Chicago. Late in this one, the ground attack, as we said, it has been a thing of beauty. Masterful indeed. Now, Anthony, as we look here ahead for Detroit, they go out of this game with a 3-0 record as they leave the field tonight with some big opponents ahead of them. The Minnesota Legend, who's also undefeated coming into this week. They go to Minnesota, and then they go to Birmingham, another team who comes into this week undefeated. Tough sledding, but the Maulers are putting everybody, I think, on notice so far.
Absolutely, and I really do appreciate how they didn't think about the team ahead that's undefeated. They wanted to focus on Chicago, and you know what? You're right, Cameron. With this running performance, they are telling other teams, hey, you better study. You better beef up your defensive line. You might want to send some pressure because we're going to run it down to your throat and we're going to go right after you.
And there's the first down. It's going to just about put the cherry on top for Detroit in this one. Yeah, you're right. That 2 halfback tandem. But, let's give Chicago their props too. They played a tight game today. It was a tough contest. They never did let Detroit, break free. Right? I mean, it was very late in this game before they got a 2-score lead. Chicago, tools to build upon indeed, even though they will drop their 3rd straight loss today.
No, and Chicago, I think, you sew up a couple things on your defensive front, but I think you have a stellar quarterback in Ty Patek. It's just today, Detroit did everything they can to contain Patek, make sure he didn't run the football, and they just had a good plan on offense.
Yeah, Jesse Fritz with a solid day at the office. Before this game's over, let's go quickly to an SFL game break with Cameron Irvine. Cam, what do you got, friend?
I got Mickey Melillo, the former Minnesota Legend kicker, hitting a game-tying field goal as Bossier City has fought their way all the way back to force overtime, and they win the coin toss. They have the football right now when your game is over. We'll see you over there. Back to you.
Thank you, KL folks. Tune in for the conclusion of that one in about 35 seconds from now. This should be the final kneel down. And that will do it, securing the victory for the Detroit Maulers, who will win by a score of 27-14. DJ is the final, or excuse me, Anthony, as the final ticks tick away. Florida comes, or actually is where Chicago will go next week. Then they'll take on the Mexico City Aztecs the following week. So, final score, 27-14. Detroit with the victory. They're 3-0. Anthony, final thoughts and game balls, my friend.
A very impressive performance by Detroit, and they did it really simple. When you only had your quarterback pass 8 to 9 times and you can run the football so effectively, that's just going to be a dominant thing going down the line. You ran for 280 yards. So impressive there. Chicago not giving up. 2 interceptions, and they played really good defense. They just showed they had a little weakness in the run game. But essentially, Gibson, Williams running for that. There's the game balls.
Absolutely. You got to be. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed. Big thanks, of course, Cameron Irvine, Corey Manor, Justin Reside, and my partner, Anthony Ellison. My name's Cameron Duty. Folks, have a good night. Happy Friday the 13th. Happy Valentine's Day coming up. Love one another. We'll see you next time on the SFL on VFN. Good night, everybody. Thank you, kind sir.
Thank you.